Hey, what's up guys and gals? My name is Rick9G. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be talking about the Twilight Zone, more specifically on the particular episode called A Nice Place to Visit. And I want to tell you why this is probably in my top 10 list for favorite episodes. I have many reasons for this and I'll get into them in a minute, but first I want to thank you all for your support and give a little bit of a shout out to Happy Place Explorers. They do, and they cover Disneyland, and they really made a cool video recently on the Tower of Terror, which is inspired by Twilight Zone and Mel Brooks. It's a really great episode and actually inspired me to make this video, so really cool to shout them out and to say thank you for supporting my channel. Now, why is this episode so great in my opinion? Well, I will tell you that not everyone completely agrees with me, and that's okay. A pretty popular writer of the Twilight Zone, Mark Scott Zicree, writes about how in his opinion this is not a great episode at all. He pretty much faults Larry Blvd. Now, Larry Blvd plays a main character in this story, Rocky Valentine, and he says that his performance seriously mars the entire episode. Although he is seen as likable, his broad portrayal of Valentine, who is the antagonist, even though he is the main character of the story, it comes across as a third-rate composite impression of James Cagney, Edward G. Robinson, and George Raft. Although I will agree that there's no surprise that Larry Blvd didn't win an Emmy for his portrayal in this episode, I will also say that to me that is not the focus of what Rod Serling is trying to say here. We have Mr. Pitt played by Sebastian Cabot, who does a pretty great job in the role in itself if you have seen the episode. But I think the message, what the episode is really trying to portray to us, that is the layers under the top layer, that is what we need to focus on. I mean, just starting out with the monologue by Rod Serling, you can see how deep and how impactful it is. He begins with, "Portrait of a man at work. The only work he's ever done. The only work he knows. His name is Henry Francis Valentine, but he calls himself Rocky because that's the way his life has been. Rocky and perilous and uphill, at a dead run all the way. He's tired now, tired of running, of wanting, of waiting for the breaks that come to others but never to him, never to Rocky Valentine. A scared, angry little man. He thinks it's all over now, but he's wrong. For Rocky Valentine, it's just the beginning." Now, essentially in this story, we see a man played by Rocky Valentine who's a jewel thief. He's essentially a robber. He's a good for nothing, and he gets in a shootout with the police, and the police kill him. He gets approached by a man dressed in white, basically tells him that he's gone, he's dead, he's in the afterlife, and he's going to show him to his new home. He brings him to this wonderful, beautiful mansion. He gets everything he wants, including money, as much as he wants. He gets all the fine clothes, the best food. He can gamble and win every single time. He gets beautiful cars, beautiful women. The list goes on and on and on. And Rocky Valentine is just on cloud nine. He enjoys it so much. But as time begins to pass, he's bored of these same four women. He becomes bored of this mansion. He becomes bored of this great food. He becomes bored that he can't lose. There's no losing in gambling. There's no point. He's essentially bored. That's how he winds it down to Henry Valentine is now bored. But wait, this is what he always wanted. He wanted material things, money, women, fame, fortune, all this stuff, but he isn't happy. So what is he missing? And that's what we have to ask ourselves. That's why this episode goes so deep. It begs the question of what's missing? Can we even say it in an articulate way? It's the chase. It's the actual journey toward the destination, not the destination. If you're familiar with the game The Sims, there's a way that you can cheat a bunch of money in there and instantly become a millionaire. You can buy all these cool things, but it gets boring really fast because there's no struggle. There's no journey there. It's all instant gratification. How much suffering does instant gratification bring? Remember, this episode came out in April 1960, and we still see it today. We still can relate. We still understand, especially in a world that is super instant, super technologically advanced, everything at our fingertips, this episode speaks to us today very, very strongly. The twist at the end is, of course, that he is not in heaven in the afterlife. He is in the other place. He is in Sheol. He is in Hades. He is in perdition. He's in hellfire, the abyss, the nether, whatever you'd like to call it. And in my eyes, it's brilliant. Many have criticized for saying, well, I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was the twist ending. But I think that the writer of this, Charles Beaumont, wasn't really concerned with you figuring it out in the middle of the episode what was going to happen. He was concerned with you thinking of the strong philosophical tone of this episode. What is it in life that really makes it worth living for? What happens if we get bored? Why do we get bored? How can we overcome boredom and become productive, become good people? There's so much in this episode, and it ends perfectly again with another great closing monologue by our best friend, Rod Serling. A scared, angry little man who never got a break. Now he has everything he's ever wanted, and he's going to have to live with it for eternity in the Twilight Zone. Now, whether it is your favorite episode or your least like episode, if you haven't checked it out, I really recommend it. You could find it on Netflix or watch it on DVD. There are many ways that you can watch it, but I would challenge you to think, what is Rod Serling, what is Charles Beaumont trying to tell us, and how well did it come across? Could we pinpoint exactly what Mr. Valentine was missing in this form of life? What was he missing that we could learn today, that we can make our lives and other lives better? I think that's what this show does. It causes us to reflect and think about our own lives. We'll see you next time, guys and gals. Thank you so much for enjoying, supporting the channel, and the best way you can support me is by thumbing up the video and subscribing. It's absolutely free to do so, and it helps me to get to 100,000 subscribers, which is very, very near. And most importantly, no matter what, be hopeful. Thank you to my Diamond tier patrons, Andrew B., Ricky, and David D. And thank you to every single one of my Patreons where I have exclusive content. Be sure to look in the description below for merchandise, Patreon exclusive content, as well as playlists where you can find other TV shows and sitcoms that I think you'll enjoy. We'll see you all next time.